comparison, for a difference of the English land or statute mile is 5,280 feet. The nautical, sea, or solar mile is 6,075 feet. A new circular map of the world, and longitude and time calculator. We have prepared a new map of the world as it is. The map is finely executed and printed in 6 colors. It contains all the continents and principal islands and rivers of the world, also, all the principal cities of the earth. The circle of the map is 14 1/4 inches, having a time dial on which is marked in bold Roman numerals the 24 hours of the day and the minutes of the hour. The face of the map is provided with 2 detached radiating arms from the center to the circumference of the time dial. The arms are held together by friction, having a pivot socket at the center of the map. On the arms is stamped the degrees of latitude. By the operation or moving of these arms the relative time of day or night is quickly determined and read on the dial by the child or person who can read the multiplication table, or tell the time of day by the hands of a clock. Latitude and longitude, and the existing difference of time between any places may be determined without the aid of figure a sign a moment's time after the places have been located on the map. The great advantages to the child or pupil are these: the whole world is before the person, with all its continents, countries, etc. in their detail and relative location, the one to the other, and so is the geography of the earth and seas established in the mind. The map should hang in the house of every family in the land as well as every office or public place. The publishing company have ready a large wall map for schoolrooms and public places. The company will not only supply the United States, but the world, and very soon the globe map and Mercator's projection will not be found. As a useful commodity they will not exist, and if any existence of them should be preserved, it would be but a memorial of that pagan idolatry from which the nations had evolved. The hypothesis of the motions of the earth and planets around the sun were not original with even Copernicus, as has been claimed or supposed by some. According to mythological tradition, Pythagoras, the sun worshipper, was the medium through which the devil operated, to bring into requisition the present godless adorations of the inventions of man. Godless, I say, for such ideas as the founders of the system possessed and taught, I am safe in saying, never sprang from a divine source. It is but simply a matter of justice that I mention the source of this pagan institution. In the opinion of Pythagoras, God is the universal spirit, diffused in all directions from the center, the source of all animal life, the actual inward cause of all motion. To the divinity there were subordinate 3 kinds of intelligences: gods, demons and heroes, emanations of the Supreme, varying in perfection and dignity, in proportion as they were more or less removed from their source. The heroes he believed to be clothed with a body of subtle matter. Besides these 3 kinds, there was a 4th, the human mind. The regions of the air, the Pythagoreans thought, were filled with spirits, demons and heroes, who were the cause of sickness or health to men or animals, and by means of dreams and other kinds of divinations, imparted the knowledge of future events. Of man they believed that since he consisted of an implementary nature, a divine or rational principle, he was a microcosm, that his soul was a self-moving principle and consisted of 2 parts, the rational, which was a portion of the universal soul, an emanation of the central fire, and had its seat in the brain, the irrational comprising the passions, which had its seat in the heart, that in both, man had something in common with the brutes. Pythagoras taught that he who devotes himself to this study is a philosopher. For this purpose it is necessary to invoke in prayer the assistance of the divinity and good demons. For the facts see Pythagoras in any encyclopedia. Perspective laws and vanishing points. It is a well-known and universally accepted theory, with astronomers and scientists, that any round body, whether celestial or terrestrial, vanishes or disappears visually at a distance from the beholder of 3,000 times its diameter. In this case, as in every other, we will only use their own words and illustrations in order to vanish their paganistical and idolatrous theory. Truths, though 1,000, hold good together. Falsehoods, no matter how many, no, never. 1. First, we give the statement of Dr. A. Wilford Hall. In his journal The Arena, of September 1887, he says, any round body, whatever its size, will be reduced to its perspective point in receding 3,000 times its own diameter from us. In order to speak from demonstrated knowledge in the matter, we made 3 small targets as follows: 1, 1/2 inch, and pinned it on a board of dark background. Secondly, 2 more of the same size as the first. These last 2 we placed their edges together as shown in figure 39. Tacking these up some 3 feet from the first, we prepared the third complete circle, 1 inch in diameter, and fastened the latter about the same distance from the second as was the previous 2 apart. Now, as 3,000 inches equal 125 feet, we measured the distance with a 10-foot pole, and FLG 39 found that with some difficulty we could just discern the first target. The second target, of 2 inch circles together, were easily distinguished at about 260 feet, while the inch circle was discernible about 800 feet. So we see that it is the increase of area that has more to do with the vanishing distance than has the increase of diameter in a round substance, as we have shown. The half-inch circle contains 1,963 area, while the inch contains 7,854 area, nearly 4 times as much area as the half-inch, and seen nearly 4 times as far. Theory is good, yes, excellent, when founded on correct principles, otherwise it is equal to feeding the horse sawdust for meal. But we will look into this law of perspective a little farther. In both Lockye's and R. A. Proctor's Elements of Astronomy is a representation of Jupiter and his 4 moons, sizes, distances, etc. And Mr. Proctor says they have been seen without the aid of a telescope. The following, figure 40, is an illustration of the same. Inasmuch as these men are representative men, and publishers of standard works, not a few for our schools, etc. The barefaced imposition upon the unsuspecting pupils is too manifest and too tempting to the investigator to let pass. Were these statements and pretentious measurements made by a novice, we could let them pass. The error demands exposure, though the men are dead and gone. If we turn to page 296 in Lockye's Elements of Astronomy, Appendix Table QF distance from the Earth, etc., we will find marked Jupiter's least distance from Earth, 408,709,000 miles from the Earth. Now, the diameter is given at about 85,000 miles, 3,000 times this equals 255 million miles as the vanishing point of Jupiter. This, then, requires, according to these men's own words and figures, that Jupiter be placed 153,709,000 miles further than they claim it to be. So we see again that 2 errors, though confirmed by 2 great authors and believed by all the world, do not make one truth, nor come within 1,000,000 miles of an approximatio to the truth. As the distance of Jupiter's satellites from their primary are given in figure 40, their diameters are given as follows. O, 2,252 miles, Europa, 2,099 miles, Ganymede, 3,436 miles, Callisto, 3,057. We will give another sample. Take Callisto's diameter, 3,057 times 3,000 equals 9,171,00 miles. Add this latter to Jupiter's least distance from the Earth, which Mr. Lockyer gives as being 408,709,000 miles, and we have the little satellite removed from the Earth, 417,880,000 miles from the Earth, 417,880,000, and yet Mr. R. A. Proctor says Jupiter's moons have been seen without the aid of the telescope. I can say that I have seen of Jupiter's satellites with a small field glass of not more than 6 or 8 powers, and I can further say that plane triangulation proves all of those theories, in regard to distance and dimensions, millions of miles in excess of facts. But, say some, should we not be charitable to our opponents and believe that it is the area of the body instead of the diameter that demands 3,000 times its surface for its vanishing distance? Yes, I think so. This is what our first and only experiment proved to be, approximately, the truth, but most bodies contain more area than diameter, therefore, it would not help their side of the question. The Sun's disk, for instance, with all his system is on less than 1/2 its area. I know no round body whose diameter is greater in its circumference, unless it be that animal's body anciently spoken of, which it was said was possible to go through the eye of a needle. There is known to exist the diameter of a circle whose circumference is equal and no more than equal to itself. 4 inches in round numbers is the maximum. It stands in the decimals thus: 4-inch circumference, 12 to 566, 4-inch area, 12 to 5664. Below 4 inches, circumference exceeds area, above 4 inches, area exceeds circumference. Thus, for instance, 3 inches diameter contains 9 to 4248 in circumference, while the same contains 7 to 0686 area. The other side of 4 to 5, the circumference is 15 to 708, the area of the same is 19 to 6350, but no maximum is known for the co-equal of diameter and area. Transits and eclipses versus orbit of the As we have desired to notice the oft-repeated assertions in regard to the shadows of the Earth on the Moon, the Earth between the Sun and the Moon is the equivalent, we will try and make the matter plain in this article. Mr. R. E. L. Love, of Vadis, W. var. kindly sent us an article which he wrote for a tennis paper, The Busy South. Such portions as bear on the subject and are not a repetition of what I have written, I gladly publish and illustrate by a diagram further on in the subject. First, just now, the papers are giving lengthy articles from astronomers, whose fertile imaginations are constantly evolving some new theoretical speculation. They are now talking of men and their doings, who, they claim, inhabit the planet Mars, that red star, so discernible at times, in the sky. Early in August of this year it was given out by American astronomers that they had discovered on the southwestern limb of Mars, 3 bright lights, forming a triangle, which would flash up brilliantly for a time, and then suddenly disappear. In the official report from the Lick Observatory, Monday night, August the 8th, it was stated, last night on the South Polar Cap very complex and numerous dark markings were visible. The unique spectacle of markings in the snow caps has been noted not only with the large telescope, but with the 12-inch by Barnard, who some time ago observed that on one night a dark streak would appear across the polar cap, and then would follow a separation, and then the disappearance of a large portion of the polar cap, leaving 2 white spots. The great Milan astronomer, Professor Schiaparelli, has also discovered numerous and extensive canals cut in Mars, he claims. The New York World of August the Ith, whose correspondent had interviewed the professor, says, for Schiaparelli was the first person to give definite basis upon which to rest the belief that Mars was inhabitable by a highly civilized race. He discovered that the surface of the planet was intersected by a large number of canals. It was apparent from the map he drew, That these streaks were real canals because they were perfectly straight, were obviously artificial because they did not recur on any of the other stars.